I know, right? I didn't know that Microsoft does have a form just like Google Forms, and how to go about it is by going to this plus sign, and you're going to see a couple of interesting apps that are available right here. For example, opening documents, presentations, and once you scroll down, there are two versions. One is Forms, and the second one here is Quiz. Now, how is this different from that? We're going to talk about this in future videos, but for now, we're going to look at Quiz and see what Quiz has to offer. So once we click on that, we should be able to have this pop up on your Windows tab, and what it's going to look like is something like this. And so once we have this, we are going to have a couple of things to be aware of, just similarly in a way to that of Google Forms. The only difference here is that for Google Forms, you're going to have a main page that will allow you to gain access to something like this, and usually that main page is in this particular format where you're going to have a new form or new quiz and their customer expectations, new product survey, and many more. Like for example, in here, if you click on show templates, and if you want to show more templates by clicking on that, we have all these templates that are available, not as diverse as that of Google Form, but this is actually a nice way to begin with. Now, going back here to this, we have a couple of recent apps that are already created, large and small numbers, but also pinned format, which I don't have currently. Other things in here, like for example, all my forms, if you click on that, you're going to have this new tab opened up, and we're going to have all these actually created. We have 0 responses and so much more. And as well, we have either open new form or in this case, new quiz. And so in here, we're going to dive into new quiz, and we're going to see what this actually looks like. And so once we have this, we have a couple of tabs that are on the right side of your screen. All these tabs are important in terms of how are you going to preview what you're going to see, in terms of how people are going to see your specific quiz when they open it. So it's something to be aware of. A couple of themes in here, once you click on it, is how do you want it to feel. Like, do you want to feel somehow intimidating like this, or a little bit more serious like this, or other versions like that? Whichever way that pleases you, go for that. There are other themes right here in terms of colored themes. We have a couple of icon themes here. I like this one. Or you can go with this particular version, or you can go with chemistry. And you know what, let's stick with chemistry because hey, I love chemistry. So once you click on that, the next one here is send, and send means that you're able to share this with specific group of people in terms of them filling out this particular form. Whichever way you go about it, that is pretty good. In this case here, you're going to copy this and insert it in any particular platform where your audience can actually fill it out, and that is a way for you to get your responses. Now, in this other part here, you can also go here to these 3 dots, and you're going to see one in terms of collaboration. This is where you're going to be sharing this with someone else that you want to have access to the raw file so that you both can edit together as you go. Now, the only limitation is that you can't add their email specifically, which we want in this case. And this here, it means that if anyone has this file, they can jump on it and just edit it without your permission, which you don't want in here. Now, other things, for example, here is settings. In this case here is already put in as a quiz, so you're going to have something that is a feature that will be displayed when you start adding your quiz, which I'm going to show you very soon. Other things in here like accept responses, you can click on the start date, change the date and the time, and you can click on the end date when it's going to be expiring. You can shuffle the questions as you want, or you can log the questions in this case, but in this case we don't have anything, so we're going to click on all in this case. And next one here is show progress bar for any audience that you want in this case to keep track of how much they are about to finish or how much that they have completed, and get email notification for each responses. Usually I use this because sometimes if I don't have their names written down here, I can have their email that is incorporated or linked to their responses. So whichever thing that you click here you go for, that's pretty good. Customize a thank you message. You can type it right here by saying thanks for filling this quiz. Your result will be sent to you soon. So something like that. Now this is the main section in here, and you might be wondering, I can't really edit the untitled quiz or the title of this quiz. So in this case you are going to click on that particular part, and once you click on it you're going to have untitled quiz, where you're going to edit it by putting in specifics as to what are the information, what is the quiz about. And so this one here you can just talk about let's say matter unit, and in here you can put like a description, so something like that. And once you have that, you have the option of clicking an image, and insert an image requires the following: either you get it from this particular image search engine, or you upload it from your computer or OneDrive. And so in this case I can just click or type matter just to introduce like a theme of it, and something like this looks pretty cool. Either ways, once we hit add, you're going to have this displayed right here. Now a couple of honorable mentions is that once you click on this image, you can introduce an alternative text for screen readers, which is pretty awesome. So you can just say image of an atom, something like that, our atomic structure. And yeah, once you hit add, there you go. You can delete this by clicking on that, and you're good. Now this is where adding new comes into play, where you're going to be adding questions. And to add questions, here are a couple of ways by which you can create a question, different styles of questions. In this case we have multiple choice, and in here we have text, where students will be able to put down a written response either in paragraph form or point form. In here is rating, and next here is date. We don't really need that for now, to be honest. Ranking is another big one, kind of similar a little bit to rating, from the most accurate answer to the least accurate answer. Like it, net prompter score is kind of similar to like your credit score, which is kind of interesting. And sections, once you click on this, we have different sections. Like for example, section 1, you can just say that, oh, this we're going to address class of matter. That is one. And in here you can just enter a subtitle, like saying and once you're done with that, you can put this here by inserting image or inserting a video, and whichever one pleases you, you go for that. So insert the image, I'll do that, and just type classification of matter. Once you click on that, we have this right here, and that should be vague enough. And so once I click on that and I hit on add, this is something that is going to appear. And now we are going to begin with the following by adding questions, and you can add multiple choice here. And in multiple choice, you're going to have the question, you're going to have your options, and you can have a message for those who choose this. And this is another way by which Microsoft has a different take on it compared to Google. While for Google, you're going to have your answer icon, where once you click on it, you'll be able to pick the answer and have like a comment for those responses. On Microsoft form, it's actually integrated already by clicking on this for the right answer. Like for example, you can say what is matter, and one response will be, and next one here is and next option here is, and final one here is, let's say all of the above. And now once you have these options to integrate your answers is already shown here by this particular check here, and the right answer you should figure that it is, has mass and takes up space, and you can have a comment here saying that oh, correct. And once you type that here, correct, and once you have that, you can click on required, and once you click on required, it means that they must answer this question. And this here, you change the point to 1, which means that this is what makes this particular form, which is shown right here, for make quiz to be different from new form, because on new form, once I click on this and you see what is shown right here, and you, let's say for example, add a question, like you notice that there is no grade for that particular question, and so that is something to be aware of. And this I didn't know until I checked it out. And if you click on this further and you go to settings, you're going to see that there is no particular tab that is associated to a quiz, like compared to what we have right here, which shows you that particular tab that is option for quiz. So you can unclick it. Now when you deactivate this, what happens is that this will be under review, and once you review this quiz in terms of the grading and everything, you'll be able to submit it after. However, once you click on this, you'll be able to send the results immediately once this has been submitted by the student, so the student will receive that grade automatically. Now another interesting thing here in terms of the multiple choice is answer, well, option for multiple answers. So if you click on this, what it means is that they will be able to click more than one options here, and that might be, or those might be the right answer. And so an example will be has mass. You can have here another important highlight here is that once I highlight everything, we have a couple of ways by which I can adjust the front. In this case here, I'm going to create 2 answers that are right. I'm going to click on that, and in here I'm going to click on correct by having a message for it. And once I type correct, this is how you are going to be able to change also the point. And once you're done with that, you should be good to go. You can add image, and this is one thing that's interesting here when it comes to adding image. In here, once you add image, couple of honorable mentions is the following. We have a pen icon here, and once you click on it, you can adjust the size to whatever you want. You can bring it forward, or you can take it a full step backward. You can zoom in, zoom out, however you want. You can also delete right here, and for this, once you click on it, you can create an alternate text. Likewise, what we have right over here. Other methods by which you can create a response is, in this case, by clicking on this, you can create rating, and for rating, you pick one level from 1 to 5, and you can change the symbol from the star to whichever symbol that, well, to other options. In this case, it's not that many. You just have number. From the number is a little bit relatable to some students, way more than that of star, but it's still fine for sure. For levels, you have this. The only downside here is there is nothing like most likely or least likely here. So all you have to do is be more specific in your description. That should be a little bit of a clarification for your audience to be able to rate it. And once you're done with that, you're good to go. Now, other honorable mentions includes the following. In here, we have copying a question. So if you want to copy this question, you can copy it, and once you click on that, it automatically inserts that same question as the next question. So here is how it is done. Next here also is in terms of deleting. You can also delete a question by clicking on this, and that is good to go. Next here as well is if you want to move question 1 to question 2 and question 2 back to question 1, you can click on any of these arrows. In this case, if I bring it down, it means that it's now question 2. Another one that is of great importance is in terms of this particular icon. Once you click on these, we see a couple of interesting add-ons, and these add-ons include the following: shuffle options, which means that one person's option can be different from someone's other order of options, and that is something to keep in mind. So if I click on that, that will be activated. Another one here is math, and this comes handy when you have equations that are written down here. Like for example, when you have this question right here that says mass divided by volume, what we want to do is we want to change this to math, and to do that you click on math, and what happens is that you're going to see this icon that is shown on each option. Now to gain access to this is an introduction to functions, where once you click on it, we can now change the format to math format, and this shows all the varieties of equations or symbols or mathematical functions that are of great importance, and also numbers as well, which is amazing. This here, as a result, we can change this to fraction format by, in this case, clicking on this, and you can type the numerator to be mass and the denominator by clicking on it to be volume. And likewise, you can do it for any other function that you want to type in here, and this is really brilliant to take advantage of. And once you're done, click on OK, and we are good to go. What we can do also is, in terms of, let's say we are going to create a new math question, and this adding a new question involves text, and when you introduce a text, the question here is we can actually type the equation now if you want as an option, and you click on that and you have access to these, you're good to go. Now, another thing here to be aware of that is of great importance is that you want your responses in terms of, the student to answer the question in text format. And once, for example, we have these, there is another way of extending the responses of the student. If you want to make it a long answer piece, you can increase the box, and that will be accessible for the students to have their responses. But check this out. Once I'm done with this, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a preview of what the questions are going to look like. And when you scroll down and you see that the student is going to have these displayed, this is going to be interesting because at this point, they're not going to be able to type in any equation that you want them to type. So this is quite difficult for students to actually type in or down their equations, mathematically speaking. So that is one downside to this. So I hope, in the future, this software will be able to have that particular function tool accessible. Another one that is really fascinating is the use of add branching. And to add branching, this comes really handy when it comes to scaffolding questions, to start from something easy and then it builds on it to future questions. Like for example here, for question 1, if you think that this will be a nice lead to question 2, you click on this drop down and you're going to have a couple of questions that are going to be a nice add-on of your interest. And once you click on that question, the student that is going to be done with question 1 will move to the next question that is listed right here, and that question will be something that is of great importance in terms of scaffolding. Now, other things to be aware of as well is in terms of responses. For responses here, we have your responses that you are getting from those that have this particular form and have completed it. And in here, you're going to have your average score, and here is the close status. Review answers is also an option here to click on. Post scores is another one to click on so that everyone can gain access to the final grade. And finally, if you want to open in Excel, you can open this on Excel and you can see the questions associated with the person responses, and then you can move on to various other statistics that might be of great importance to you. Now, another thing here to be aware of is in terms of the view of this. So if students are working on this using their computer, this is how it's going to look like. If it is on their mobile, this is how it's going to look like. And once you scroll down, this is how all the questions are going to be set up. Those are things to be aware of in terms of Microsoft Form. I hope you found this really informative. Please hit a comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts about this. By that way, I can talk to you all soon. Stay smart as always and believe in yourselves.